as we explore into one of the most pressing and dynamic field of the digital age. In the era of where digital footprints are growing exponentially and data security breaches are becoming increasingly sophisticated, the field of digital forensic has taken center stage. Whether it's cybercrime, intellectual property theft, or safeguarding our personal and corporate data, understanding the challenges of digital forensic examination and fortifying data security edges
हाँ जी
are paramount importance. As we
आ
embark
रहे
on today's
आ रहे हैं
conversation,
कैमरा ऑन करवाना है उनका हाँ
I encourage you all to engage fully, ask questions, and exchange knowledge with one another. It is through such collaboration that we uncover new strategies and solutions to the digital challenges we face. Once again, welcome to this online guest lecture. I hope today's session inspire you, broaden your understanding, and equip you in digital forensic examination and data security. Thank you. Once again, I welcome you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yudhvi sir, can
Yes,
you
sir.
open the camera so that sir could also see the students?
Okay, sir.
So I will also inform to the student that Feminder sir is a investigator in digital forensic, and he has a lab in Bangalore related to the digital forensic lab, and is also an investigating officer with police also, and investigate many cases. So I hope that student enjoy his lecture, and all the forensic crime and related to the forensic subject, sir explain each and everything. So over to you, sir. Thank you.
Sir, thank you. Thank you for your introduction about me, and it's my pleasure to address the students, especially during the month of cybersecurity. October month is celebrated as a cybersecurity month, and this is the audience of cybersecurity as well, which I am addressing. So, which I am very happy to address this, audience. Participants. This uh, okay. Participants, during this discussion, I'll be specifically highlighting on the challenges in the digital forensic examination and issues related to the data security and data privacy to a certain extent. Okay, so new output. So the question before us, when we have to discuss about the data forensics or the cyber forensics versus cyber security, while you all have been a cyber security student, I don't have to ask you the question about what cyber security is, but it's important for us to understand the term forensics before we move on with our subsequent discussion. If in case I have to ask you, what is forensics? Because while most of you would have seen the CBI, CID serials, and there's a lot of cases which in the recent days have taken up the attention of forensics. If in case I had to ask the participants over there, what do you understand from the term forensics? Participants?
Actually,
Is
sir,
it?
they will ask the question at the end of the session.
Okay, fine. Sir, is my screen being shared? Can you please confirm?
Sir, screen is not visible. Your PPT is not visible.
All right, I'll arrange it.
IT person, please help sir to.
So,
Sir, you are sharing screen share or document share?
Screen share.
Kindly reshare it, sir. Stop and then,
Now,
yeah, now it's visible, sir.
Now it's visible, sir.
Kindly
Yes.
change the slides. That yes,
Yes.
yes,
I
sir.
have.
It's working. It's working, sir.
All right, thank you. So, participants, the question before us is to verify and understand our understanding about the term forensics. While there are a lot of textbook explanations about what forensics is, so it's very important for us to understand in the working mode of understanding. Participants, forensics can be defined with number 4 and number 6, 4 and 6, which gives a value of numeric 10, matlab the value as 10. In our binary system or as well as in your computer system, the one in the electronics subject is always given a value of truth, whereas 0 is always given as the value of false. So the ultimate scope of forensics is to ascertain if a given claim is true or if the given claim is false. That is the ultimate scope of forensics. Be it be any branch of forensics, this is what the ultimate justification we try to do in terms of our examination. Just for example, in a scene of crime, okay, there is a blood, I mean, there is a red color liquid. The question is if it is a blood or any other chemical. So in the forensics, we ascertain, yes, it is a blood. And then the question arises if it is a blood of a human being or a blood of an animal. So we try to answer that. Or we say the investigator will come back with a statement that we suspect this blood belongs to so and so person. So we ascertain or nullify. No, it doesn't belong to this person. So this is a scope of forensics, but especially in the field of digital forensics, this approach is a bit different because in the field of digital forensics, the examination of the devices or the data is like a mining. More we dig, we get more data. The police would suspect some information to be held in a particular device, a particular trial would have happened using the device, but it is not as simple as in general what we look into forensics. We investigate the digital forensics. Digital forensics, it's a lot of data and investigation is actually to be conducted to gather what could be the relevant data to the given number of cases. So this is a simple understanding about forensics and how it is so different, how the digital forensics is so different from our regular forensics streams. Now, going forward, the digital forensics has few important concepts. Okay, one, I would say it is a metadata, and another, I would say it is a hash value. For those who have already got familiar with what metadata is, and if I have to ask the group of participants whom I can see right now, how many of you are aware of what is a hash value? Please raise your hands. What is hash value? How many of you are aware of it? Raise your hands. Okay. I don't see majority of the participants raising the hands except for a couple of people who are sitting in the front rows raising the hands. That means I should also be discussing about what is hash value during my presentation today. But it's very important for us to clear cut our understanding here that digital forensics has three major flavors. One is the devices as the evidences. Second is the data being the evidence. And the third being the network as evidence. Matlab, these are the three major flavors of our digital forensics. Yet, using different tools with the different platforms, we try to gather the data. There are many such applications which can be used for gathering the data, for analyzing the data can be different tools used, for presenting the data, there could be different tools used. So ultimately, the three major flavors of our digital forensics is devices, data, and networks. The way in which the digital forensics is so different from the cyber security, matlab cyber security versus cyber forensics, is that as the term forensic is concerned, we use forensics only after a damage is reported. The post-mortem, be it be for the death post-mortem or the incidents post-mortem. Forensics comes into picture only after a breach, only after an incident has already occurred. Whereas cybersecurity is so adopted to prevent these damages to the network, to the data, to the devices. That is how these two are so different, but for the same reason, the digital forensics becomes a part and parcel of cybersecurity program. Because when the people are so busy in securing the network, if the network is compromised, then arises a need for investigation. And that investigation is nothing but the term digital forensics. When you start the investigation, in some situation, you examine the devices. In some cases, you examine the data. In some cases, you examine the networks. So for this reason, the three flavors of digital forensics is clubbed to your cybersecurity as a major domain. Now, coming to the question of the challenges in device level of examination. If you ask me the real-time challenges, every case poses different levels of challenges, especially in the digital world. I'm sure every one of you sitting here, you're using Android, Apple devices. And every month, probably every 15 days, every 20 days once, we get to see the applications getting the updates. Have you also experienced that? Whenever you connect to your Wi-Fi, your applications automatically gets updated. And every 20 days, every 1 month, you get to see the software updates for your devices. Android version so-and-so, iOS versions so-and-so. So the devices keeps getting updated very frequently. And that's why it is said, there are two major statements in our digital procedure, technology platform, where you state one and other is also answered. The first statement is that the technology gets updated every day. The other statement also means the technologies gets outdated every day. The two important statements is what is a driving force for our digital investigation procedure, be it cybersecurity or our cyber forensics for that matter. It's also important for us to understand how these technologies are getting upgraded and what are its pros and cons, including the recent attack in the cyber world. Okay, I believe the CrowdStrike, you all have realized in the recent days, there was a situation of CrowdStrike. That was because of a software update. Okay, there was a software update which actually posed a threat for the data, and there was a denial of service. Matlab, the people could not use the service the way it has to be used. So ultimately, it was a result of a particular software update. Now, with this same discussion, let us understand the typical challenges of our device level examination. Obviously, there was a recent, probably if you all remember, there was a case fought between FBI versus the Apple incorporation, matlab Apple company. They both fought a case in the Supreme Court of America. How many of you have known about it? Raise your hands. Are there any participant in the session who knows about this famous case? No. Okay. Good reason for me to brief that case for you. It was a terrorist attack which led the FBI to seize a particular mobile phone which was of Apple for the investigation purpose. And because, as you all know, the locked devices, be it be Android today, be it be iPhones since the beginning, is always a challenge for the investigation. And FBI notified the Apple as a company to open that particular lock of the mobile device, to which the Apple as a company denied, saying that we don't have a policy of opening the lock of a particular device. But FBI, in the interest of national security, they issued a notice and the case went on to the Supreme Court. The FBI only requested Apple with one specific request to downgrade the operating system of the Apple device, because the FBI had a solution to counter the lower version of the software to break open the password. Whereas the recent versions of the Apple, the FBI at that time did not have a solution for. Because of this, they fought a case with Windows Supreme Court, but when the case was pending before Supreme Court, the FBI was successful in breaking that particular password, and eventually Apple had nothing to do for the breaking open the device because the device was already open. So the case was withdrawn by FBI. So this particular case I am trying to bring in because when the FBI lodged a complaint, when FBI took the case to the Supreme Court of America, the technology with what the device which the FBI had seized had a version of a software which the investigation software, what we use for the device data extraction, device data analysis, that particular software was not so upgraded that the suspected Apple device could be retrieved. This is a challenge today, dear participants, because the softwares on our mobile devices gets updated every month, but the investigation tools what we use does not get updated just like that. I could be using Apple version 18.01. This is the update for the day. But for the investigation software to understand how the 18.1 works requires some time. To work on this particular platform is when they are going to derive certain loopholes and the remedy to derive the data, devise the data extraction. This will take a lot of time. By the time, as a recovery tool, as a software tool which I'm going to investigate, I will take 1 or 2 months to understand the new version. I found a solution. By the time, as an investigation software, I found a solution, it is time for the device to get upgraded. So the investigation softwares and the mobile platforms at least are 3 generations having a gap. So it requires a specific amount of time for the investigation software to get to reach that particular level of data recovery possibilities from the devices which are subjected for the investigation. This is one such reason why the investigations get delayed, and also the locked devices is not very easy to be opened these days. Be it be a simple Redmi phone, or be it be OnePlus or any such China dominated devices, or including the Apple devices for that matter, all these devices in common pose a common threat of locked devices. The investigation companies are not able to easily investigate the data on the locked devices, which is the challenge for the day. Second, the routing and data recovery. While in Apple iPhone users, there is a concept called jailbreaking, which I'll discuss very soon. And for all the Android users, there is a possibility called routing. The routing is a process where we can take over the root directory for recovery purpose. The devices what we are seeing today, dear participants, we are unable to root these devices because again, the routing technology is 3-4 generations behind than the technology what we're using as a operating system today. So this is one such challenge. Without proper routing of a device, we cannot do a proper data recovery. If the data is not recovered, there is no scope for digital forensic examination. Okay, that is the major part of the digital forensics, where we recover the data and then we examine what is recovered. So being that as one of the core flavor of the digital forensics, without proper routing, so we are unable to do the effective data recovery. This is one of the challenge. Third, the software updates. I actually included this in my discussion, where the software updates of the devices, software updates of the softwares, what we use for the investigation, are not updated at the same time. It will take at least 2 to 3 generations gap before we find a solution for this moment's software to be investigated. It takes a 2 to 3 months time. And for the same reason, when we investigate in the digital domain, we first put the devices in the flight mode. That is a SOP. As a SOP, whenever we have to investigate a particular device, we first put the device in the aeroplane mode and disconnect from its network interface. Because till the time the network is active, the device will keep updating. So for us to freeze the updating process is what we put the phone in the phone or laptops in the aeroplane mode before we do any further process in our digital forensic examination. Now, coming to the topic of data. I mean, the challenge is what we see as a challenge in the data level of our examination. Okay. When we extract the data, we get to see a huge load of documents. Okay, which I think I have a screenshot which I can share that with you right away to come back with this. Okay, you can look at the screen, dear participants. In a particular mobile phone, when we recover data, I mean, when we recover the data, we can see how much of data we have gathered. If you look at the media files, there are 86,000 and odd media files in this. If you look at documents, there are 1,644 documents, emails, and if you look at the data, it has over more than 1 lakh counts of the data. And for you to find the relevant data in this particular thing, it takes a lot of time. And that's what we are discussing right now. The data which we recover will be in huge quantity. If unless or otherwise the police or the investigation officer knows exactly what data to be found, it's easy for us to start searching for that data. Otherwise, police will have a request saying that to recover the data, let's see what we get out of it. And in such cases, it's a huge amount of data, huge amount of manpower being involved in assessing what data, what is the profile of the individual, how this data can be held against him. That becomes a lot of brain game. That is why the cases of digital forensics might get delayed. Okay, I'll come back to this slide once again very soon while we're discussing about the data, which is a challenge for the loads of data versus the relevant data. That's always a challenge. Next is a keyword search. Participants, I am clubbing point 2 and point 3 in the same discussion. Why? Because to search a particular file, it requires a keyword to be used. Say, for example, if you are suspected of leaking out a question paper of the exam, just for example, okay, you would have shared an image. That image would have the format of the question paper. If in case I'm searching, if you had a question paper in your possession, what are the keywords am I going to search? I'm going to search the keywords including paper, score, marks, exam. Okay, so all these keywords becomes a very important part of my examination. But if that file is in a picture format, will the keyword be of any help to search the content of the file? The answer is no. So in this sense, including the PDF, if the PDF is made because of a scan on the computer scanner, that format is different. Suppose if I click a photograph and then use a photograph to form a PDF document, okay, the PDF will have an image, not the regular scanning method. So like this, the challenges even to use the keywords to search becomes very challenging depending upon the case-to-case basis. The third is the challenges of the data being shared on the WhatsApp. While most of us have been using WhatsApp for a lot of official and unofficial purposes, this WhatsApp also poses a huge amount of threat for evidentiary value of the data which is processed on the WhatsApp platform. Suppose you click a photograph and you want to send a photograph to your friend. Hey, look, I saw this person doing this. I have an evidence, okay, in my phone. I captured it and sent that captured data on the WhatsApp. Your friend received the data on the WhatsApp. And the question is, if this received content on the WhatsApp can be used as evidence, the answer is no. Why? Because whatever the content you received on the WhatsApp, it is a information only, but that doesn't have a good evidentiary value. Why? I'll show you with the screen right now. Mm, You can look at the screen right now, and this is the data called the metadata. The metadata contains the data of the data. How many of you know what is metadata, participants? Raise your hand sitting where you are. What is a metadata? How many of you know? Okay. Participants, metadata is a very important element of our digital forensic examination and even for you in the cyber security requirements. Yes. Thank you. So the cyber security and digital forensics relies upon a category of data called metadata. In the textbook explanation part of it, it is the data of the data. Why is the data of the data important? The metadata contains the device from which this data was captured, the format in which it was captured, the date of its creation, access of the file, date and time, time stamping, how did the file got received. So all this data would be actually be there on the metadata. While you're actually seeing on the screen the WhatsApp received file. But how does it seen with the original file? I believe you can actually look at your mobile phones. Are you people allowed to carry your mobile phones to the classroom? So you please take your mobile phone. Please open your mobile phones, participants. Go to the image which you have recently captured. Go to the image which you have recently captured. And this image should be captured by your camera and not received on the WhatsApp. Okay. Go to the image which you have captured using your camera, and there'll be a kind of I button in most of the phones, or you can choose the options, select details. Select details about the particular image, and you get to see a lot of information about your captured data. Matlab, what is the exposure value? What is the frame rate? Okay, what is the ISO value? A lot of information about your captured image can be seen on that particular data. And that is the metadata of the image what you have captured. Now, participants, we are done with watching what we have to watch on the mobile phone. You can lock your mobile phones and keep it inside. All right. So I'm sure, I believe everybody checked your images only and not the WhatsApp. Okay. Now, continuing further, now we have this data which can be seen on the WhatsApp, which is much different than our actual metadata. The WhatsApp as a platform do have a separate encryption for your data which is being transmitted on the platform of WhatsApp. So every data which is received on the WhatsApp, when you look at the image, you feel like, this image is of poor quality. But the same image on your camera gallery is much bigger or much, having a good resolution than what you would have sent on the WhatsApp. So this is a simple understanding that WhatsApp will do some kind of encryption to your data which is sent on their platform. So for this reason, any file which is media file which is received on the WhatsApp as a image, audio, or video is not a good evidence at all. But how do you send an image, audio, or a video on the WhatsApp and still be considered it as a good evidence? You have to go through with the option of sending the file as a document. In the WhatsApp, there's a plus mark, and when you press that, you can actually see a document option over there. You select the document option and select the image to be sent, and that image will be sent in the actual format. That document mode of sending the image is a good evidence, and because you're using a WhatsApp, select the image and send the image. That is a bad practice of transmission of any evidences for our understanding. Now we are switching over to the discussion on the data privacy challenges in our digital investigations. And as such, okay, this has been one of the most complicated area of digital forensics. Why? Because if you look at the 3 points which I have given on the screen, private data versus relevant data versus specified data. I'll give a simple example, participants. Suppose a person is suspected of cheating a person of 10,000 rupees. And his phone is recovered. His phone is seized by the police because police wants to get the evidence that this person requested that person to give 10,000 and that person gave him 10,000. He acknowledged of receiving 10,000 and he has been promising, I will give, I will give, I will give, and he has not given so far. Police wants to capture these evidences from the mobile phone. And now that the mobile phone is seized, the complainant is one who has given 10,000. But in the process of examination, we recovered a lot of such data. And he is not cheating only one person, but I could see this person has been cheating 20 other people. Okay. So now the question is that, can I report all 20 such communications where he has been cheating other people with the same modus operandi? Whatever complainant has stated in the particular case, that I was approached on the WhatsApp, I gave him, he has not given, whatever has happened in one person's case is the same thing which would have happened in 20 other people's cases. But the question is, in this particular case, as a forensic expert, can I report on all the 20 nature of cases? This is a question which we'll discuss in our question and answer session at last. Okay. Otherwise, the second point of discussion in this slide is the intermediary guidelines. For all the cybersecurity students here, this is very important to understand about this particular policies. The intermediary guidelines as well as the guidelines on Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDPA, Digital Personal Data Protection Act. This is a very important policy for all the cybersecurity students here, which you have to understand, know about it, and start learning about it. Now, as far as the practices, if you look at till the 2014-2015 year, the police officers, including the DCP ranking officials, were finding it difficult to gather any data from the intermediate, from the aggregators like Google, Facebook, WhatsApp. There has been a situation, if you look at the YouTube video, I can also share that on the link if the time permits. There was a case where the DCP held a warrant and he was supposed to be serving this warrant to the Facebook. And the Facebook had its headquarters in Pune. And DCP reached the Facebook headquarters to serve this warrant, but the security guard at the outer entrance, did not allow even the DCP to enter his premises. Why? Because that warrant cannot be served on the company of Facebook. That's what the practice we had earlier. Okay, and the question is, without the companies like Facebook and WhatsApp helping the investigation officers, these days, whatever the crime we are able to see, can it be solved? The answer is no. And for the same thing, in the year 2023, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, they have passed this guideline. They have issued this guideline for called as intermediary guidelines. Participants, for your understanding, an intermediary is the one who hold your data on their platform. Okay, and for example, Ola is an intermediary. What does Ola do? He will hold your data, and he'll also hold the driver's data on his platform. You have a need, he can supply. You both are connected. That is the purpose of intermediary. The intermediary is the one who hold the data of X person, and to which the intermediary will not own the data. Okay, this is the understanding or the liability of the intermediary. He only hold the data of someone to whom he have no control over it. Matlab, the data doesn't belong to the intermediary. That is the understanding about intermediary. But when we discuss about the intermediary guidelines, this is where it is important. Suppose somebody posted some defamatory post on Facebook, okay, and they also removed it. Now the question is, if the content has been removed from the Facebook, how do you retrieve what has been posted? Obviously, you will go approach the Facebook only. Facebook says, look, boss, the data what was posted is not mine. Okay, it was some user, and I am an intermediary. I have only given the platform so that any person can post whatever they want and they can remove whatever they don't want. So why are you approaching me? I have nothing to help you. That was the stand of companies like Facebook earlier. But today, there has been a guideline given to the intermediaries that they have to nominate one particular official called the nodal officer who has to respond to the police request within 15 days. Second, the servers of all these companies must be placed in India. And for any warrant to be served, any orders are to be binding on the companies. It only happens when they have a server based in India. Otherwise, these Google, Facebook, and WhatsApps were all serving the Indian audience with the servers which were not in India. For that reason, it had a geopolitical or jurisdiction issues. The police could not investigate that. The courts cannot pass any order and make the companies binding to follow these orders. And for this, the intermediary guidelines 2023 has been issued so that these companies will hold their servers within India. That's a very strong move. And also, recently, the police is fighting a case against the WhatsApp. Please follow the news. This is very significant for the industry which you are in. The Supreme Court has been approached by WhatsApp that the WhatsApp is now compelled to give the data of the data trail. Suppose you got a message, a forwarded message. If police wants to know how did the message come to you, you would say, okay, he sent me. And that person would say, someone else sent me. Police will lose a lot of time. Because of the police wants to have the approach by the WhatsApp that, look, boss, this is the message. I want to get the trail of the entire message, which WhatsApp is taking a defense saying that they will not reveal that. This is one of the challenge because WhatsApp wants to follow the data privacy as a defense. We don't share the data of our users. That's what the defense they are trying to take. But in this case, which is pending before the Supreme Court, in the recent days, there has been a police authority which filed a case against WhatsApp for not facilitating the request of the police in a significant investigation procedure. This is the news. Next, as cybersecurity professionals, which you will be in very soon, every organization which you get involved require good internet and cyber policies. It is not just a technology which helps you to mitigate the situation, mitigate the issue. It is also good policies what you create. Recently, we were investigating a particular case or situation of our client. The client was given advice by certain experts. Look, you are a fintech company, and being a fintech company, it's always recommended you use Mac devices for your data security. Wow, it was good. They invested lakhs and lakhs of amount. Okay, they procured the Mac devices for every of their users, and they're using the MacBook, and still they found certain data being stolen or data pilferage, and they approached us to understand how the data was actually compromised. While we investigated the case, we happened to report that while you have been using the MacBooks, you have not got good policies which allowed the participants to use the WhatsApp web. These devices, MacBooks, okay, said to be of the companies, were allowed to use the WhatsApp web. So using WhatsApp web, any data can be transmitted. Okay, all I have to do is copy, paste, and send it. And that trail is not noted in the device level. Because in the device level, if I use a pen drive, I'll get to know. If I transmit using an email, I'll get to know at least email has been used. If it is in WhatsApp, what happened on the WhatsApp, nobody knows. But something happened on WhatsApp, people can report on that. So, like this, it requires a good policy also, not just good infrastructure or good recommendation of a huge investment on the infrastructure. While routing or jailbreaking, the explanation is given to you on the screen. In next couple of slides, I'm going to wind up my presentation and we'll open for the discussions. The jailbreaking or the routing, it is a process of accessing and editing the root file directories of the device or operating system. It is only then we get to see the complete recovery of the data which has been accessed on the devices. Well, other challenges what we face, dear participants, is on the screen where we try to do certain routing activities. There is also a threat that the data would be lost. Whatever data is available on the device might tend to be lost. In certain cases, there are some practices which we also seen, but we have not done that. While people would actually go ahead with this routing because in spite of that alert, the data can be lost. They go ahead with the confidence that they can recover what has been lost. As a digital forensic expert, we don't endorse that practice, but in the interest of data recovery, there has been certain practices which are done like that. Okay, apart from that, in terms of data recovery, we see a lot of challenges in terms of CCTV footages being extracted. CCTVs are the hard disks which are used for CCTV capturing. It is looped. The data writing is looped on that. So any data which is purposefully deleted can be recovered, but any data which is overwritten is very difficult to be recovered. The overwritten data is very frequently seen in CCTV related cases where the data keeps overriding. So encryption and security features, especially this happens in MacBooks. The MacBooks usually will come with the encryption. Matlab the hard disk on the MacBooks, the chip comes with the encryption procedures. So it's a bit procedure oriented where we found time consuming for this kind of situations. And user errors and inadequate backup. When the people don't have a proper backup, it's very risky for us to go ahead in our investigation procedure. There's a difference between a police investigation and a non-litigation investigation procedure. Okay, all the companies which you're going to join would have a non-litigation approach of the investigation. Okay, but especially when it comes to police, we have different practices. But ultimately, the cases where we see inadequate backup was a challenge for effective investigation procedure because we are not sure if we have to proceed or if we have to stay back. Participants, this is what I have to share at this hour from my end. It's now the time, it's 11:48, 11:49. Now the session will be open for any kind of question, answers with the question, what we actually had in the data privacy, with one person complaining and 20 people having the similar, case. So this being an active question, the session is now open for any questions and any discussions. Participant, would anybody want to answer my previous question as well as ask me any further questions?
Any questions from the student side? Okay.
I think the person is volunteering for asking the question.
I think one student came and Yudvi, sir,
Oh, yes, sir.
anybody have any question from the student point of view? Student side?
Yes, sir.
So can you explain route in detail?
Okay.
Routing.
See, routing as a digital forensic approach is concerned, it is like making the device level security weak so that we can run a alternate program on the targeted device for effective data extraction. Otherwise, the mobile phones are secured on the hardware level where unauthorized applications can't be installed. You can see in the I want you all to take your mobile phones to understand there is something called developer options. Okay, in the developer options, you get to see USB debugging or allow the applications to be installed via USB. A lot of options are there for the developer level of understanding. And if the device is so secured, we cannot run a alternate program on the targeted device for effective data. So jailbreaking and rooting. Jailbreaking is for the Apple devices and rooting is for the Android devices. The purpose of rooting is to compromise the hardware level of security so that alternate software can be run on the targeted device. Did I answer your question?
One more question from the.
So which tool we are used in the industry level for a digital forensic?
Come again, please. Which tool is used?
Yeah, for a digital forensic in the industrial level. On the industry level.
At the registry level.
Yeah.
Okay. See, while we use digital forensics tools, we don't have this specific tool for registry level only because when we extract the data using digital forensic tools, we get every data. We get the data of the softwares, we get the data of applications, users, settings, okay, browser history, every data we get it. With the help of certain root directories, we can find what are the activities which happened on the specific question. But without the forensic tools also in the Windows, you also have the the application level information, matlab the user level information, the pen drive level information, or the register level information. Directories, specific directories are there where you can go and log on to the specific directories to understand. But as a tool, we use tools like Magnet Forensics, which is used for both mobile as well as to the laptop devices. We use Ncase, okay, we use FTK, okay, for the device level of examination. And for the purpose of mobile tools, we use tools like Magnet, we use UFED and Mobile Edit Forensics. In addition to a lot of other open source tools, which we can use it for the academic purposes. And what I told you as a list is for the commercial use. The industries have to use that. For academic purposes, there are a lot of open source tools which we can end up using it.
Thank you, sir. What question we have, sir?
Mentioned routing is for hardware device for hardware part. What is the link between routing and kernel? So is routing related to kernel?
Please repeat. Your voice was not clear. Please repeat.
So you have mentioned routing is for hardware parts of our device. So kernel, we know that it is both like hardware and software. So routing is related to kernel or not? Like how is related to kernel?
See, your voice is kind of echoing. Can the faculty repeat the question, please? The one who is closer to the mic.
Is it clear, sir, now?
Now it's clear. Please go ahead.
So you have mentioned routing is for hardware parts of a device. So
Correct.
how is it related to kernel?
Correct.
So how is it related to kernel? Kernel is both like it's a bridge for hardware and software. So how is it related, and is it a main part plays a major role for the kernel part?
See, the routing is to break the device level security. See, there is a software which actually restricts a user to access the device security level. So when you refer to the kernel, kernel is again that particular platform or the source which restricts usage in a regular sense. An ordinary user cannot really access the kernel, and it is kernel level of information is only given for developers as well as the device manufacturers. The softwares are so installed on the devices which would prevent usage and compromising the user interface for the hardware issue what we're discussing right now. So the routing is a process where it affects the security level of the kernel as well as easing the access on the mobile phone to be extracted as a device level data recovery.
Yes, thank you.
Praneeth sir, my question is that if somebody sends an image in WhatsApp and if somebody sends an image in the document format, what is the difference between them and why the direct image is not considered as an evidence?
When you send any multimedia files on the WhatsApp will compress the particular file. Because of that, you don't see the same good clarity of what you have captured versus what you have received on the WhatsApp. Okay, and metadata will be affected and will be created as per WhatsApp as an interface. If you look at which tool captured or created this particular file for the received file on the WhatsApp, it says it is a WhatsApp, but factually you would have captured on your camera. All right, so that is why whatever you have sent on the WhatsApp is good for information, but not good as a evidence.
Thank you, sir.
I think questions is over. Thank you very much, sir, for very energetic and very informative lectures.
Yes, sir.
And
Meanwhile, the students can connect me on these platforms. You can just scan the image to connect me on my platform. If you have any specific queries, you can always get back to me on this.
now I would like to invite Professor Sapnesh Satwalekar for more topics. Sapnesh sir, I think sir are busy. So once again, thank you very much, sir. I think lecture is very informative for all of us, especially for cybersecurity student, and it is especially on data forensic science and data security. So hopefully we are that means that lecture are very beneficial for all of us. So we are very grateful to you, sir. You spare your valuable time and give us time. So thank you very much.
So thanks for the
Also-
opportunity. It's my pleasure to address all the participants here. I think Professor Sapnesh sir is here.
Yes, sir. So definitely it's a wonderful lecture, and all our MSc cybersecurity student and BCA student definitely gain the information and knowledge about the cyber forensics. So definitely in future, we will also in touch with you regarding the other lectures and workshops. And thank you for giving us the time.
So
Thank you.
thank you for your initiative, and also thank Yashaswini, who
Mhm.
was coordinating for this activity. Thank you both for this opportunity, sir. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Thank you.